this training is going to be focused on SEO, which stands for Search Engine Optimization. Because there are many ways we can optimize our videos so that they appear higher in search rankings, which is very important because YouTube is the second largest search engine in the world, owned by the first largest search engine in the world, Google. And the strategies we're going to be talking about can help your videos rank higher on both. And make no mistake, this isn't just going to lead to more views and subscribers, but it's also going to lead to more clients. Because if your videos can show up right at the moment someone is looking for help with that topic, they are very much a potential client or customer for you. So let's delve into titles, tags, descriptions, and everything else you could possibly need to know about ranking in search. And let's start with the big mistake most new creators make. They try to do exactly what the big well-known creators are doing, which means their titles aren't very searchable at all. They use a title like, "Can't believe this just happened," which would be great text for a thumbnail, but not so great for a title because it isn't very searchable. Nobody is typing in the search box, "Can't believe this just happened." For big creators, this doesn't matter though, because they have a large audience the video will be promoted to anyway. But when we're just first starting out, right from day one, we should be thinking in terms of making searchable content that new people can discover from looking for things using the search box, whether that's on YouTube or Google. Initially then, we want to be thinking in terms of keyword phrases that people are actually searching for and typing in the search box. And let's look at a practical example of two old videos I made when I was first starting out with YouTube. One of them was called Inspirational Movies for Success and Motivation, brackets, must watch inspiring films. The other title of a video was Do You Fail Walt Disney's Salt Test? Now, one of those videos got over 30,000 views all organically. The other got under 300. Now, the successful one was the first one because it had several searchable keyword phrases that people are actually looking for, such as inspirational movies, movies for success, inspiring films. All of those keyword phrases were within the title. Contrast that with the second title. Nobody is looking for Walt Disney's Salt Test. Probably no one knows what that is. So yes, it's intriguing, but I'd have been better off putting that in the thumbnail to create curiosity and having a title that's actually got searchable terms in it so people can find it. Again, once you have a much larger audience, yeah, sure, you can sprinkle in titles that are purely designed to get clicks rather than being searchable. But at the beginning, we want to be trying to get our videos ranked in search to help bring in new traffic right away. So hopefully you can see what I mean when I say searchable phrases. But other than common sense and intuition, how exactly do you know what's searchable and what phrases people are looking for? Well, one easy way of doing this is think in terms of questions, such as, how do I something? What is the something? Literally, making your title a short question that people often ask about your niche is a really simple and effective way of making searchable content. In the idea generation training that we had in Module 2, we also talked about asking the audience for their questions as well. And questions that your audience ask you would probably make great titles for a video. So, for example, if I was posting this training you're watching right now as a YouTube video, I wouldn't call it SEO wizardry. I'd call it something like, how does YouTube SEO work? Or how to get ranked in search on YouTube. Questions people are going to be actively typing in and trying to find the answer to. Another great strategy though is to use the YouTube search autocomplete feature. If you start typing something into the YouTube search box, it will start giving you a drop-down list of options of the most searched terms. For example, if you're in the weight loss niche and you type weight loss into the search box, it'll start giving you all the weight loss keyword phrases that are searched for most often. And if you want to get more specific search results, just type more in the search box, like weight loss workout, and it'll update the options with the most searched terms related to that. You can also use an asterisk before or after your target keyword, which will act as a wildcard and give you even more options. And any of the things that appear in that drop-down list would make a great title because we know that people are actively searching for that. That's why it's recommending them, because these are the terms with the most search volume. However, now we need to talk about the trade-off between competitiveness and search volume, because you may find some really popular search phrases, which is great, but that tends to mean they're incredibly competitive. If we stick with the same example, we know that a lot of people are going to be looking for weight loss. But we also know there are millions of videos on weight loss, so ranking for that as a new channel is going to be incredibly difficult because YouTube considers something called channel authority, which means that if you had 1 million subscribers and your whole channel is about weight loss, you're in a great position to rank for an insanely popular keyword phrase like weight loss. But as a new channel with very few videos on the topic, you're not in such a good position at all. And yes, raising your click-through rate and retention for the video will help a lot, like we talked about in the last module. And there are plenty of other strategies we're going to talk about in this training to help too. But some keyword phrases are just too competitive. And so we want to target keyword phrases that have a reasonably good search volume, but without being insanely competitive. We're essentially trying to find a gap in the market that we can fill where there's demand for it and people are actually searching for it, but without being insanely over the top competitive with millions of people trying to rank for the same thing. So I highly recommend getting 2 free browser extensions called vidIQ and TubeBuddy. Both extremely popular with YouTube creators as they provide a lot of extra insights, especially when it comes to ranking in search. In fact, one of the best features in vidIQ is that when you search for anything using the YouTube search box, it will give you a ranking for the search term by weighing up how often it's searched versus how much competition there is. And it'll literally give you a score so you can tell how good of an opportunity there is with this keyword phrase. Now, we obviously want to find keywords that have at least a medium search volume, but without having a high or very high competition. These keyword phrases are going to be more realistic targets for us to rank for. So keep trying some variations in the YouTube search box until you find something with a good score. And look, this tool isn't perfect, but it does give you a very good indication. You can also judge the keyword competitiveness for yourself by looking at what the top results are for the search term you've entered. So if the top 5 results all have over 1 million views and are from very established channels, it is going to be much harder to rank. I mean, it's still possible to rank for that phrase, especially if the videos are really old because YouTube slightly prefers newer videos, but your video would need to perform incredibly well. So we're ideally looking for search terms where our video could realistically displace one of the current top 5 results. Other free tools you can use to judge the potential of a keyword phrase are keywordtool.io and Google Trends, which is actually recommended by YouTube specifically. Both of those tools help you check the competitiveness and popularity of your search terms and potentially help you discover some new keyword phrases to target as well. So both of those are useful tools. So once you start practicing with this, you're bound to come across some keyword phrases that have great search volume, but are way too competitive. For example, something like passive income. So what we want to do in scenarios like this is focus on long tail keywords, which means keyword phrases that are more specific and therefore less competitive. For example, passive income for beginners. Another easy way to do this is simply add the current year onto the end of the keyword phrase to make it more specific and relevant. And yes, when we're making things more long tail by adding something else on the end, there's obviously going to be a bit less search volume for it. But it's better to rank high for a phrase with medium search volume than to not rank at all for a phrase with extremely high search volume. So this keyword research stage is really important, but once you've found a phrase that's relevant to your video, that has some search volume, but isn't too competitive, let's now try to rank highly for it. And we're going to go through a whole bunch of strategies of how to boost your search ranking. This is the best search optimization strategy I've found after lots of testing, research, and working with clients, and I'm going to share that with you here. However, before we get into all that, I just want to clarify that all those things we talked about in the previous training still count towards this. Things like high click-through rate, watch time, audience retention, engagement, those still matter. They're not just useful for getting suggested, they're useful for getting ranked higher in search because obviously YouTube are going to want to promote those videos that are getting such positive feedback. And so if you can work on those metrics, it's going to help you get a higher ranking in search, which will help you get more views, which in turn raises your search ranking even higher. But here are some additional ways and strategies you should be boosting your search ranking for each of your videos. And so when you combine these things with good metrics in terms of watch time, click-through rate, engagement, and audience retention, that's when you've got a really winning combination. So our first thing for boosting our search ranking is to front load your main keyword phrase. Once you've found a main keyword phrase for your video that's not too competitive but still has a reasonable search volume, make sure you include that in your title, ideally at the start. In the first line of your description, you want to put that as well. Again, ideally at the start of your description. And then you also want to put that phrase as your first tag. Because what you're doing here is you're signaling to YouTube, this is the main thing the video's about. So for us, we were saying something like passive income for beginners. You'd have that at the start of your title. You'd have that at the start of your description. You'd have it as your first tag. But the second way you can be increasing your ranking in search is to fill your description and include keyword phrases within it. What I mean by this is that YouTube give you 5,000 characters to describe your video. But the words and phrases you use within that description help YouTube understand your video and understand what keyword phrases it should be ranking for. So ideally, you want to fill that entire description. But you don't have to write something from scratch. You can just use the script or the bullet points you wrote for the video before filming it and copy that in. However, the key thing is you want to have 2 paragraphs at the start of the description that are loaded with searchable terms and phrases, including your main keyword phrase. So let's have a look at a description. If I was going to target the keyword phrase YouTube SEO tips, I'd start my description by saying exactly that. I'd say, YouTube SEO tips. In this video, we'll be covering several key YouTube SEO tips. Search engine optimization for YouTube allows you to rank your videos higher in the YouTube search. And these YouTube SEO tips have been handpicked as the most effective ways of enabling viewers to find your videos in YouTube search. YouTube SEO tip number 1, front load your main keyword phrase. YouTube SEO tip number 2, and so on. So as you can see, within that description, I've repeated that phrase many times. Now, you don't want to keyword stuff, which is where you just list out keywords, but with no actual sentence around them. So just, listing YouTube SEO tips, YouTube search optimization, like that. That's just called keyword stuffing, which is actually against the rules. And the algorithm's pretty smart. It can tell. But if you put it into a sentence, then yes, you absolutely can repeat those keywords within the description, which is just going to send all the right signals to the algorithm that clearly this video is about this topic. So when people search for that phrase, we should probably be suggesting this video then. So you'll also notice that as well as me using my main keyword phrase, YouTube SEO tips, there were other searchable terms within it. Things like search engine optimization for YouTube or rank your videos higher in YouTube search. Those are also things people are going to be typing in the search box. So people kind of waste the description, to be honest. Don't be one of those people. Make sure you write your sentences in a way that are going to include some keywords that are very searchable and related to your topic, because that can have a great impact once used with all these other tips we're going to cover as well. But now let's move on to the third tip for ranking in search, which is that what you say in the video matters. A lot of people don't realize that YouTube are now putting more emphasis on the words you actually say in the video, as this allows them to literally tell what you're talking about, as opposed to something like tags, which are purely on human input and can be manipulated. Whereas with the words you're saying in the video, obviously they can see, if you're talking about this topic, probably you should be ranking well for that topic. Whereas if you're talking about something totally unrelated, then you're obviously not going to rank for it. So don't overlook the importance of this point, because the benefit of repeating your searchable phrases within your video can actually be very high. Once again, though, the beginning matters the most. So in the first line or two, it'd be a very good idea to try and include the main keyword phrase of your video. Obviously, just with the description, you want to do it in a natural way. So here I may say, in this video, we're revealing the best YouTube SEO tips. That sort of format is really great because it still acts as a hook for your video, so you get people interested, but it ensures that your main keywords are said aloud right at the start. So whether you're on camera or whether you're recording into a microphone, try and find a way to work your main keyword phrases into those first few sentences if you can. And if you can sprinkle them throughout the rest of the video as well, that's great. No need to go overboard, of course, and sound like a robot. I'm just saying, if you can naturally include those main keyword phrases at the start especially, then that's going to have a very beneficial impact. Tip number 4 is to rename the video file to your main keyword before you upload it. So right before you select a file from your computer to upload to YouTube, just rename it to your main keyword phrase. So instead of vid0004.mp4, or whatever it is, for me, it would be YouTube SEO tips.mp4. And you should do the same thing with the thumbnail file as well when you're uploading a custom thumbnail. Instead of thumbnail.jpg, go for your keyword.jpg. And sure, this tip alone isn't going to be make or break, but all of these things are just another contributing factor to the overall search ranking. And so when you start using all of these strategies together, you're at a huge advantage over the vast majority of people who don't know about these things. Because just put yourself in YouTube's shoes. If it looks at your video and you've got a specific keyword phrase that's in the title, it's in the tags, it's in the start of the description, it's repeated several times, you say it within your video multiple times, especially at the start, and even the video file and the thumbnail file are called that specific phrase, well, all those things together, it's going to think, well, this video should probably be ranking for that phrase. Now, let's move on to the fifth tip, which is to fill the tags box. So we've already said that your first tag should be your main keyword phrase, but the tag box allows you to list out lots more tags that describe your video, which again further helps YouTube understand and categorize your video, as well as boosting your chances of ranking for those search terms that you enter in the tag box. And what I like to do here is just enter different variations of my main keyword phrase. So if we're sticking with that example of YouTube SEO tips, that could be my first tag, but then my next tag could be search engine optimization tips, then YouTube SEO guide, things like that. Everything that's sort of related to that main tag, but written differently in different ways. And remember, if you are struggling to come up with searchable tags to use, you can just use that YouTube search bar autocomplete trick that I mentioned earlier, which is going to help give you lots of ideas of tags you can put in there. The point is, though, although you don't need to spend long on this, you may as well fill the tags box with the maximum amount of tags that you can use. Strategy number 6 is to use vidIQ and TubeBuddy to check out the competition. Now, we've already discussed how these free extensions can help you with search engine optimization. And whilst the paid versions of these extensions have some extra tools to help you discover and monitor keywords, which may be worth considering once you are a bit more experienced with SEO, the free versions have perhaps the most useful feature of all. And that is, it will allow you to see exactly what tags anyone is using on their videos and where they're ranking for them. So once you have the extensions installed in your browser, simply go to any YouTube video and they'll supply you with the relevant SEO data. This is not only kind of interesting to peek at what tags other creators are using, but more importantly, you can then do this for similar videos to yours and see what tags people have used and what they're ranking for. And obviously you can then bear that in mind and potentially copy some of the tags that they're ranking for that are similar to your video and get an idea of what terms are working best. I also recommend exploring the other features of both of these extensions, as they do give some additional SEO insights that are going to help when determining what keywords to use. However, let's now talk about number 7, which is to change your SEO if it's needed. Because once you start posting consistently on YouTube, you'll get to learn the average views you get in the first 24 to 48 hours. And if it ever seems significantly below normal, you can try changing the title, the thumbnail, and the first few lines of the description, especially if vidIQ is showing that you're not ranking for any of your desired tags. So it's worth going in and updating it and trying something different to see if you end up ranking for one of those newer tags instead. For all the videos, you can do the same thing. You can go and update the title, the tags, the descriptions, and this can reignite the video sometimes, or at least give it a small extra boost. One idea is to look in your analytics for the video, and it will tell you what search terms people are entering to discover your video. And sometimes it won't be a search term you've even included in the title and description, in which case you could add that phrase into your title and description. However, one important note here, don't change SEO that's working well. If it's bringing in a good amount of traffic from search already, it's best to just not interfere. This is more for if a video appears to have died or it just never took off, then feel free to make some adjustments to the SEO. Number 8, though, is to focus on evergreen videos. Well, sometimes you can capitalize on current trends and go after a big initial influx of views and then have a sharp decline when the trend wears off. Evergreen content that will still be relevant a year or two from now is the best from a search perspective. Making videos on topics that there's already demand for because once it ranks in search, it can be bringing you continual views every single day for potentially years to come. And as long as the video is performing well on all the key metrics we discussed, it should continue to rise up in the search rankings over time. So if you start thinking in terms of evergreen videos and topics for videos that there's going to be demand for a long time to come, those ones are great to go after. Strategy number 9 is to add channel keywords. Just like you can have tags on individual videos, you can have tags for your entire channel to further help its discoverability. To do this, you just go to the YouTube Studio, you click Settings, and then under Channel and Basic Info, you'll be able to add channel keywords. Once again, you want to think in terms of searchable phrases people are actually looking for and typing into the search box, but in this case, rather than terms relevant to a specific video, you're going to be entering terms relevant to your channel and your channel's niche. But now let's move on to strategy 10, which is really powerful, and that is to create backlinks. A lot of SEO advice that applies to ranking on search engines like Google also applies to YouTube, and backlinks are a great example of this. What I mean by backlinks is sharing your videos in other places and on other sites, whilst also including the keyword phrase you're trying to rank for. As, in other words, you're linking back to your video from all these different sites. What this essentially does is signal to YouTube and other search engines that this video must be good because all these other sites are linking to it, and therefore it'll get pushed up the search rankings. As for where you create these backlinks, we'll cover lots of places throughout the rest of this module, but one great place in particular to leave backlinks is Tumblr, because you can import your YouTube video into a Tumblr post very easily, and it gives you the option to add a title and tags which you can just copy across from your YouTube video. Of course, the more backlinks a video has, the better, especially from high authority websites that are really popular and trusted. But the bottom line is that embedding your YouTube videos on as many relevant sites as possible definitely helps. And so you should be searching for as many different places as you can where you can leave a link back to your video. Now, although that's already 10 different ways you can boost your search rankings quite significantly, I will just give you one final bonus one that's what I'd call grey hat SEO. It's something that's a little against the rules, which I would of course never endorse, but hypothetically, if you got people to type in the search term you're trying to rank for, scroll down the rankings, find your video and watch it in its entirety, then that would certainly help. Because just think about this for a second. It would be boosting the click-through rate of the video, boosting the watch time of the video, and in particular, it would be training YouTube that when people look for that search term and watch your video, they watch the full thing, proving it's a great match for that search term and should be promoted more. Again though, that's just a hypothetical and a reminder that those metrics we talked about in the previous training still heavily matter for search ranking. Because if a video's got good watch time, good click-through rate, good audience retention, and good engagement, well then of course YouTube are going to want to push that up the search rankings list. So, as a final point to all this, please remember that good SEO is not a substitute for good content. If the content isn't good, the search ranking won't hold. However, after the last module, and with a bit of practice, I am very confident your content is going to be very good, in which case these SEO strategies are going to have a multiplying effect on your video's success. And remember, this can help you rank on Google search results as well as YouTube search. But I should also point out, if you're totally new to SEO, it's very normal for this training to be a little overwhelming and technical, to say the least. But hopefully it has got you thinking about how you can use more searchable terms in your video's title, description, and tags, almost reverse engineering what people are looking for, and then you can start adding in these extra strategies as you get more comfortable with the process. Or if you already knew the basics of SEO, hopefully this has given you some more advanced strategies you can start using. Because at the end of the day, being able to rank your videos in search can bring you a great supply of highly targeted traffic. So when you combine that with the rest of the content in this module, you can really begin to explode your channel's growth. That's not an understatement at all. Speaking of the rest of this module though, we've got lots of great strategies to come, so I will see you in the next training.